Hello and welcome to you. You join us this afternoon as we are meeting with David Powell. David is one of our trustees at South Wales Baptist Association and at the last AGM has been appointed our treasurer. And I thought it would be great to have a conversation with him this afternoon because of a recent mission experience that David has had that has taken him abroad. So David, welcome to you. Lovely to have you with us. I wonder if, first of all, could you just share a little bit of background information, whereabouts you live, the kind of things you normally do day to day?
Yes, so as Mark said, I'm David Powell, just recently been appointed as Treasurer and Trustee of the Baptist Association. My work generally is in office and finance management, working at my local football club here in Merthyr Tydfil. I deal with many aspects of bookkeeping, accounts, and also general office duties, as well as catching the odd game of football when I can. I'm also the Secretary, Deacon and Trustee of High Street Baptist Church in Merthyr. And before lockdown was involved in two choirs, Dowlais Male Voice Choir and also Convoce, which is a chamber choir, again based at the church. Hopefully these activities will return in the not too distant future. I'm also a keen baker. I love to cook and I also love to watch football as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Could you then, because I know you've just been abroad to Romania, could you tell us a little bit about why and what that involved?
Yeah, so I guess I was inspired by the stories of Christian Thomas, who is a pastor from the Rhondda, who preaches at High Street quite regularly. Whenever he came to visit, told of his travels and his mission work in Romania, but also the connections with the people there. I mean, my passion for mission really came from the Mission to Wales project that up until lockdown had a part of church life in Merthyr and the Valleys for some 25 years. And I was able to get involved with the teams from New Hope Baptist Church in Atlanta, but also a bit closer to home in Holland Road in Brighton. And they use High Street as their base every year they come over. It's made up of over 100 people. And what touches me every year is that they give up their holiday time to come and preach the gospel and just show the love of Jesus in the valleys of South Wales.
Yeah, fantastic. And so that led you to what? Hear about the opportunity to go to Romania?
Yeah, what those guys do, it really spurred me on, particularly when Christian mentioned after one service in High Street that he was looking for help to drive a van over to Romania with shoeboxes and other donations to the Christian outreach projects in Romania. He didn't need to ask me twice with my passion for mission. I really wanted to go and help make a difference, which is what the charity Support for Romania have done following the aftermath of the communist regime out there. God had led Alan and Anne Penrose, who both live in Cardiff, to begin their ministry, which was helping Romanian Christians, unbelievably poor, but also so faithful in the Lord, despite their poverty.
Yeah. So you were driving a van to Romania, or how long did that take, and what was it like?
So we left South Wales at 7 o'clock on the Friday morning, arriving in Romania on the Sunday evening. But thankfully, we were able to stop over in Belgium and Austria on the way. It was a little bit tricky on the van. It's not something that I've done before. I've never driven on the continent, but Christian let me loose on the autobahn going through Germany. And after about 15-20 minutes, I certainly felt comfortable driving. We didn't really have any difficult experiences on the way. They were long days, but we knew we had a mission to accomplish. So that was always in sight for us. No matter what happened on the road or at rest time, we knew we had a mission to do, and that's what kept us going.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you experienced when you arrived? How long were you there for, and what happened?
So we initially were spending 3 days in Romania. Our host was in Oradea, which is one of the cities closest to the border that we crossed into from Hungary. And as you cross into Romania, you automatically see the landscape change. It's very difficult not to notice the makeshift houses and the dangerous roads, the lack of pavements, exposed utility cables and things. It really hit home really when we arrived. But it was 3 days in Romania itself. We visited Oradea, um, another city called Cluj, and also Perece. And those were the three main areas that we were meeting up and giving gifts to.
Yeah. Yeah. So you stayed with a host family, did you, during that time?
So we stayed with a host family in Oradea. Warner and Sammy looked after us incredibly well at one of the churches in the city. And as most churches in Romania have apartments or rooms where missionaries can stay. And we had a wonderful room overlooking the city of Oradea. And the hospitality, wherever we went, was second to none. They really do look after people. You know, with the little that they have, they're not short on hospitality at all.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many shoe boxes filled with gifts, I assume, for children? Is that right?
Yeah, so there must have been well over 2,500 shoe boxes, as well as clothing and medical supplies that we took over. Most of them went to Grace House in Oradea. That's like a social action place, look after children in orphanages and underprivileged families, and various other, Christian people that need the help, really.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely. That's a fantastic thing to do. In terms of your experience, and as you've come back and you've had a little while to reflect now on your experience, are there things that have particularly impacted you that you can share with us now?
Yeah, I think it would be fair to say, Mark, that that the trip had an impact on me, and I got so much out of the trip. Really, one of the interesting situations that me and Christian found ourselves in was coming across a family living in Perece. Christian had only met them for about half an hour the previous year, so we went to visit Pal and Anna and their family in Perece, and they just welcomed us into their home, open arms. The hospitality was incredible. They took us into the church. They showed us what they do at Christmas, and their Christmas giving is homemade pasta. If we think back home what we would give our churches and families over Christmas, I think it would probably be a little bit more than homemade pasta, but it's what they can provide, and the way that they bless people with very little, it really had a big impact on me. But one of the biggest things that I took away from the trip was just a sense of unity. I mean, God spoke to me in various situations, not just the Pal and Anna, but there's so many other outreach places that we went, and how important unity is to the people there. People spoke in two different languages. They prayed in two different languages. We had so many differences, yet the one thing we had in common, I suppose, was that we all had the love of Jesus and the gospel. I constantly looked around to see families and friends sharing in fellowship. And at the start of any meal or journey or visit, we were praising God with thanksgiving. And I knew that was the reason that I was there. Jesus has this most incredible way of breaking down boundaries. And it's good that we can do the same through him.
Fantastic. So if you were going to give anyone advice about doing a short-term mission trip of some sort, what would you say to them?
I mean, without doubt, it's one of the selfless things somebody can do. It's a way of showing faith, hope, and love, really. I mean, one of the passages of scripture that I came across before I went is the passage about faith and deeds in James 2. It's great to have faith, but we also need to show action. We need to show our faith in action. So I would encourage, if you've got a mission heart, you've really got to do it. It just opens up so many opportunities to help people. And I was just privileged to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I think many who have done something like that would say, actually, although we might think we're going to give something to other people, what we receive back tends to be so much more than anything we could ever give ourselves.
Yeah, one of the final things that I learned is how incredibly blessed I am, really. I kind of knew that sort of fact anyway, being a Christian and serving in South Wales, but I came back with a deeper realization, I suppose, of what this means. Throughout the week, as I mentioned, we met so many different people, all had different stories to tell, different situations, different families, even different homes. And one person said something to me that I'll never forget, and I'll always have it with me from the trip. And she said to me, since I met the Lord, you know, I'm grateful for anything that comes my way. And we were sat in the kitchen with the family and looked at how little they had compared to me. She was just so happy and so joyful. And I just keep thinking to myself, I must remember to be like her.
David, thank you so much for taking this time to share your story and bless us with your experience as you served God through mission in this way.
Thank you for the option to speak. Thank you, Mark.